Hey guys, I've been part of the Inktober event for many years, but something has changed. Yesterday, while looking around at videos, taking part in the event, I noticed a few video thumbnails on YouTube that looked super clickbaity. They mentioned Jake Parker, who is the founder of the Inktober event, and some kind of plagiarism scandal. And I'm not one to go in for clickbaity anything. Like I sort of kept on going, watching videos of cool artists, drawing, inking, doing all that fun stuff. The next day I kind of sat down and it was sort of bothering me, so I thought, let me do a little web sleuthing, and immediately I came across some websites pointing to a video by Alphonso Dunn, who is the artist who is claiming that Parker has plagiarized him. Um, and like immediately I'm thinking, that's interesting. Like we're in a world of, sources say, quote unquote, and here's a direct accuser. So I was kind of fascinated from that point. I was like, let's watch. Oh, by the way, the link to Alfonso Dunn's video will be down in the description. It's definitely worth having a look at, which I will probably mention a couple of times because it's sort of a key piece in this complicated puzzle. So in Dunn's video, which is an hour long, I'll warn you, I wasn't ready for that, but the first thing that kind of struck me was, Dunn takes this hurt, emotional tone, which for me, I'm very skeptical of most of the time. New journalism, this whole practice of taking news and putting a narrative spin on it and tugging on your heartstrings and all that, I don't like any of that stuff. It really, really gets my hackles up. So that was my first reaction, that it was sort of some kind of emotionally charged piece. But I kept watching, and if you go and check this video out, I would encourage you to do the same. Don't watch like a minute of it and then formulate an opinion. Watch the whole thing. Anyway, I mean, between these sort of emotionally charged outbursts that Dunn does, he slowly starts to show this pattern of how he laid out his book, the structural workings of it. And in my view, based on what he shows, which by the way is video of Parker's book, in my view, it seems to be that that the stuff in Dunn's book, which was from 2015, by the way, was lifted and put into Parker's, in what I can only describe as a suspiciously similar way. It's unfortunate to say, it's unfortunate to even talk about, something like this, but I hate to think that people would do things like this, but it happens. The world is what the world is. I do want to make a point about what I just said. I said in my view. This is my best take on the information that I've been able to find since diving down this rabbit hole of plagiarism in Inktober. So by all means, I'm sure there's a lot of big opinions out there. It's the interwebs. Everybody wants to argue. You guys are welcome to do so down in the comments or blast me on Twitter or whatever you want to do. I don't care. I'm not shy about arguing points. But I do want to tell you guys kind of how I got here. If you're interested, you can go off and do your own due diligence and come to the conclusion that you will. There's a lot of arguments flying around, different websites, different streams, Twitter, oh my god. All the usual internet stuff. But to me, you gotta kind of cut through all that noise and get it down to there's just one simple point that's important to me. And firstly, you have to kind of put it in the context of inking techniques. If you were to grab a whole bunch of inking technique art books and lay them all out on a big table and look at them, they're all going to have very similar ways of explaining this super esoteric discipline. There's certain ideas and ways that you present them that are going to be effective and get across these ideas of how to turn lines into images. Certain ideas are going to be effective, so why wouldn't all of the art books that want to be successful use the way that's going to be successful, right? There's going to be similarities. If I draw a furry cube lit a certain way and you draw a furry cube lit a certain way, I mean, how many different ways could we all draw furry cubes lit a certain way, right? So I totally agree with that concept, and it's being thrown around as sort of this idea that says, no, it's not plagiarism because of this. But to me, this is completely beside the point. It's what I said before. The thing that Dunn demonstrates in his hour-long emotionally charged video is that he demonstrates a pattern of similar teaching concepts and examples. And the pattern is so complete that seemingly, and I'm assuming that Dunn's not doing any editing and manipulation here, but seemingly it looks like if you follow Dunn's book and the progression of teaching that he's taking you through in his textbook and compare it to Parker's, I mean, in some areas, the pattern, the flow, the structure, they seem identical in parts, not in whole. But, that's what plagiarism is, right? Even the middle school student, doing his history paper who's going to plagiarize, even that kid knows, hey, change this to that, change the other thing around here. You gotta move it and shake it a little bit to not be obvious, right? So that's definitely, I mean, that to me definitely seems like it's been going on. You take that thing as a whole, like that's the important thing. If you take a snippet of what Dunn's saying, if you take any one example that he makes, you could probably lay out several other art books that all have that same kind of thing. So the plagiarism or the lifting of ideas or whatever, I'm not going to get into any kind of legal defining here, but the thing, the shortcut that was absconded isn't the individual examples, but it's the overall plan of the book, which I'm sure textbooks are hard to make. I'm sure that was a lot of work for Dunn. That is not a light thing to rip that off. Now, when it comes to the legality of all of this, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not even going to pretend to know what's legal and what's not legal. What is the legal definition of plagiarism? I don't know. There's websites, you can go find that out if you're interested in that. Now, you might be thinking, is it possible we're all just, seeing similarities where there are none? I mean, it's wired into the human brain, for us to find and see patterns. Like, that's a thing, we find and see patterns where there are none. This is a documented phenomenon. And to that, all I can say is you just gotta go, you gotta watch Dunn's video, do your best to ignore Dunn's emotional delivery and see the comparison for yourself. That's really all I can do. I could make 100 points here in favor of one side or the other, and that's not really my game today. It's not really the point of this video. I also want to add, there's been no rebuttal from Jake Parker on this, and that's not really that unexpected. I did manage to find a tweet where he stated he didn't plagiarize, and then he said, for legal reasons he can't say more, which, is what any lawyer would tell his client to do, shut up until we get this sorted out. So that didn't really surprise me. Whether what has happened here amounts to actual plagiarism and a legal case of Dunn versus Parker, it doesn't, that stuff doesn't really concern me. That's not what this is about. For me, the issue here is that I have, for my part, been a part of this event with my own time, my art, posts, and videos. You know, I have supported this thing that Jake Parker created. But unfortunately, you know, at this point, I believe that Parker, or someone who works for Parker, I don't know the intricacies of that, of whatever's truly going on there. I believe that you know, the core ideas of Dunn's book were lifted and put into Parker's book. Again, because the creation of a proper textbook is a tremendous amount of work. You know, what was it I said earlier? An absconded shortcut? Yeah, totally. That's what I see. And there's a lot of hash out there on the internet. There's a lot of like, oh, Jake Parker did this, he did that, he's blah blah blah. You know, there's a lot of derogatory things being said about him for other things, other than this particular plagiarism thing that I'm talking about today. And I don't want to get into all that. There's been accusations of racially charged things. There's been all kinds of stuff that you know, it's just, to me, it's unrelated. This is one thing. This is the thing that's important to me. Is this plagiarism thing. So, you know, I have to ask myself a question. You know, am I convicting Parker in my mind without a trial? And I have to say, yeah, I am. I totally am. I mean, there's no court of Ninja Joe with the power to subpoena all the interested parties just to satisfy my own curiosity on this. That would be cool if I could do that, right? I'll send out armies of ninjas to bring everyone to me to explain themselves. No. When something like this happens, we can only go on what we believe, with the facts and observations that are available to us. You know, we're all here now, participants in the court of public opinion. And as long as we acknowledge that, and as long as we do our best, you know, that's okay. You know, a lot of times you hear, oh, it's the court of public opinion, and it's always this bad thing. Well, yes and no. It depends. It can be good or bad. Like most things in life, it could be good or bad. I think at worst, Parker plagiarized, and at best, he's been an idiot about this. But either way, my days of inking as a part of this particular event have come to an end. I do hope some new evidence arises that exonerates Parker, and not because I know him or like him or any of that, or even because I care, but really just because I want to believe the best in people. But unfortunately, life is often full of disappointing people. So, if I were to use my immense psychic powers that we all know I possess, and think about what happens next, I would probably guess that since the book, at the time that I'm recording this, the book has been delayed, I'm guessing behind the scenes right now, some serious ass-covering overhauls to the pages are going on. And if I were a betting man, I would say that Parker's book will eventually be released, and it'll be changed around enough to save face and probably avoid legal action. So, yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that. It's not a very satisfying ending if that is what happens, but, you know, somebody somewhere will probably, you know, make a movie about it. You better get on that Netflix. It sounds like it's right up your alley. No, that's not really Netflix. What would that be? That's more like, I don't know. What's that old legal show where they had the bong bong? Yeah, those guys, they can do it. Anyway. So my viewers, my friends, it's been a pleasure bringing you all of these Inktober videos that I have throughout the years. But this is the end of those. But it is not the end of art videos, just the Inktober ones. So don't worry about that. We're going to march on, so you all come along. Thanks for watching.